Boom! And welcome to Bust the Net on the United Hour. I am President Chad, and today we're talking about the man himself, Ten Hag. Erik Ten Hag. Is Erik Ten Hag a gangster? Is he trying to walk in to Sir Alex Ferguson's big boy shoes? You know, the big boy shoes that he took off at the end of his career because he didn't start off his career with those big boy shoes. So we're going to be discussing that. We also have, we're in the middle of the transfer window. 3 weeks in, United's training is supposed to start in 2 days. So, we need to talk a little bit about the latest transfer news. But I have some guests on the inside with me. We've got the man Nicholas and a newbie first time on the United Hour, Adrian number 9. How you gentlemen doing this wonderful Saturday?
I'm doing great. I'm glad that we have someone new to join us on the segment. So
Yeah, man. Yeah,
take
man.
it
Yeah,
from
man.
there. So it's a good thing to have a new face.
I agree. Adrian, how you feeling, bro?
Pleasant good afternoon to everyone. I'm pretty okay for the hour. Just quiet for now, can't complain. No, thanks for having me on the program this afternoon.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Good afternoon to Martin Phillip in the comments already. So let's jump into it because this is not going to be a very long program. You know, the Buzzy Net, we try to keep it quick and to the point. It has been revealed within the past few days that Erik Ten Hag was very instrumental in the fact that Ralph Ragnick is no longer here at Manchester United. Now, I don't know if you all remember during the press conference, his first official press conference in Manchester, he was asked about Ralph and he was asked about working with Ralph. Good afternoon to Kiss. Um, you know, and Ten Hag was very nonchalant. His demeanor changed. He seemed like he was not very enthusiastic about it. And I noted that in my mind. I was like, this, normally you would see a manager come into a space, and when you talk about working with not so much an ex-manager because the manager would have been moved, so he would have been an advisor or a consultant. With as somebody with with Ralph's resume, you would have a manager saying, I'm looking forward to working with him and learning from on this kind of stuff. Ten Hag wasn't like that at all. Ten Hag in the press conference was like, that's not up to me. I don't want nothing to do with that. That's the club, whatever capacity he is with the club, they will deal with that. I really interested in just getting to my job. And I was like, okay, clearly Ten Hag doesn't seem to be too interested or too excited about working with Ralph. And sure enough, not too long after we heard Ralph was leaving, we also found out recently that when Ralph was expecting to meet Erik Ten Hag and hand over in person, literally hand over a file, with the players and what he would have, his experience, and his own little notes. Ten Hag wasn't interested in meeting Ralph in person either. Literally just had a phone call and that was about it. So, he really was not interested in working with Ralph. What do you guys think about that? What do you think? Do you think this is Ten Hag saying what watch, this is my club now. I'm gonna do things my way. I don't really need to hear what you have to say. Or is there something else? What's your interpretation of his reaction in the press conference and the fact that he just was not interested in a face-to-face? He wasn't interested in working with Ralph as a consultant at all. Let's start with you, Nicholas.
Um, well, one of the reasons I think he might have chosen to handle things that way is that he didn't want any biased opinions or views against the players, because we all know the disaster season we had. And under Ralph, we did not really play well. I don't think we played any good football, and maybe it is that he didn't want to take Ralph's word on it, because Ralph might have had some grievances against certain players, um, and decided to say, you know what, let me give everybody a clean slate. Let me sit down, chat with each player, see what their thoughts are, see what their attitudes and stuff are towards the team, and progressing the club from where it is now to where it should be. That could be a legit
And
opinion and reasoning. Um, but I was surprised that Rob didn't continue. I know a lot of talk was saying that he got the Austria job, and he wants to focus solely on that. But Ten Hag's decision is Ten Hag's decision. At the end of the day, he is the manager of the club, and he has to decide who he wants to work with and um, who he listens to and what advice he takes.
we're gonna get into the comments in a little bit. And we do have a little bit of transfer news to talk about. We Adrian Ten Hag has come. We know he had lengthy discussions with Manchester United, and we are hearing that he has final say on transfers. And when I say final say, it's not even a matter of final say. It seems like he is the main one. He picks the targets, right? We've seen a number of executives leave Manchester United just before Ten Hag's official arrival. After we knew he was coming, the chief scout, the second in command under the chief scout. These guys are gone, and a number of other places. The chief negotiator in my judge gone, and I mean it could just be Richard Arnold and Murta House, but I get the impression that Ten Hag also, in his conversations with the board, with the club, made it clear here what if I am coming in, I see the system that was working here before, right, under Edward Wood, the system can't work. So you get the impression that Ten Hag has come in with a kind of aggression, a kind of like, yeah, we're going to be doing things differently. Do you get that impression? Do you feel that a lot of what is happening behind the scenes is also because of Erik Ten Hag?
Um, I would say yes, he has some influence. But what I'm thinking also is, and I do it in question form, could it be that because of what has transpired with Manchester United in the past in terms of managers and Woodward and so on being there, could it be that they realize that, hey, this is a different manager coming in? And for me, I think that, yes, he has influence, but I believe that it probably had something to do with before he came, or knowing that he's coming, knowing what he probably stands for, what he aligns to, realize that, hey, some things need to change, some things need to readjust, because clearly what we have here right now isn't working. And then with
Correct.
him coming in now, he's just like the added catalyst to the whole process being shifted. Because
So
we
you
cannot
leaning
want to say, want to have a new beginning, we want to have change, and yet still we have certain elements are wrong. So if change has to take place, it has to start somewhere. Even if it means that we have to get rid of certain people, bring in certain people, and so on and so forth, in order to get the desired result, or achievement at the end of the day. So to answer your question, yes, he has some say, but I believe it's not just him alone.
so you think it's more a matter of Richard Arnold and Murta
Yeah,
saying, watch, Ed gone, all of
yeah,
the lackeys that was with Ed, let me use this opportunity
yeah,
to clear the deck.
yeah.
All right. You know, as United supporters, we are all frustrated with the fact that City doing business, right? Before the window even opened, they announced Haaland, right? They just got Phillips to replace Fernandinho. And I'm hearing that they may possibly be doing some more business still, right? They have players that they're selling. They sell Jesus, and they're looking possibly with Chelsea to negotiate still an exit. You have Spurs doing business, right? Perisic, Bazuma, and others. You have Arsenal doing business, right? We have Liverpool doing business. And we, along with Chelsea, let's be honest, Chelsea hasn't really done anything as yet in the window. We along with Chelsea seem to be dragging our feet, and United supporters are frustrated. But my understanding is that when the club approached Ten Hag and say, "Watch, we have a list here of players," Ten Hag just take the list out the fax machine and tear it up and say, "Yeah, forget Alice. This is who I want." Right? So who Ole was talking to and who Ole may have been working on and who Ole may have been looking at, forget that. This is who I want. There's the short list. And I think from my understanding, it is a very short list because it is two things. Erik seems to want a few players with him that he worked with who already knows his system, the likes of De Jong, the likes of Anthony, and most of the players, and even Ericsson, because Ericsson would have trained with us when he was recuperating from his heart issue, trained with Ajax, sorry. Um, and he wants to see the players. You get the impression that he wants to see for himself where the players failed on Ole, where Ralph never got the buy-in from the players. Erik Ten Hag seems to have the attitude. What these guys failed to do, I am going to be able to. Nicholas, do you think he's going to be successful in that approach? Do you get the impression that that is the approach he's taking? Right? That I am going to come in and I'm going to get a tune where Ole failed to get a tune and where Ralph failed. Right?
Um,
Do you think that's where Eric's mind is?
Now, this might be, a stretch, but we have to remember that some of these guys come with an ego, and they want to prove that I could come in, probably take some of the players that people write off, and do good with them, right? So it could be a factor to put in, in play as well. Um, in terms of transfers and stuff, I'm not worried because the manager seems to know, like you said, who he wants, and they are targeting these players. We've heard same thing you said about De Jong. We know we're in for him. Same thing with Ericsson. And I've heard rumblings that Anthony is one that we've made contact with. We know we made contact with Timber, but because of the national team coach, that didn't happen, right? So Ten Hag knows what he's doing. Yes, I'm not concerned too much with the transfer window because before United used to fall victim of overpaying for players. Now, because we are not just rushing in and putting a set of silly money in, people are angry. You can't have a cake and it's not going to work out if we continue saying okay, or just pulp. It's not going to happen. If we don't want to fall into the same thing again, we cannot keep doing that. So that's why I said I'm not worried. I know the De Jong transfer is going to happen because one, Barcelona needs to sell. Two, he is the prime target for United, right? And the thing is, we don't have a lot of players we had at the club from last season. Pogba is gone, Lingard is gone, as well as some other guys. So we know that there isn't the same sort of attitude and dressing room atmosphere that there was last year, right? So I do believe that Ten Hag knows what he's doing in terms of the transfer window and things like that. I'm not too angry about it because United is not. We have to be realistic. We are not as attractive as before. These teams, City, Liverpool, even Tottenham, they have had a somewhat successful season. That's why they can do their transfers so quickly. There isn't much convincing to do for players to go to those clubs, right? So I don't see why people tend to get upset so quickly. I know we as supporters we want the best for the club and we want certain things done, but we have to take our time. If we want the success, we can't rush that progress and spend a whole set of money like before, because the this guy when they did the interview with him, he said, "You want me to go and sign players?"
Clearly, it's a different approach from Richard Arnold, which we want because the approach of Edward Ward we know has been a dismal failure. Um, Jeremy, we're going to be answering that question in a little bit. Jeremy is asking in the comments, if we're not worried about strengthening. But before we get to that question, Adrian, I want to get your take on it. Do you get the impression
Mm.
from Ten Hag that he is coming in with a very strong mindset of I can do or I can be successful where others have failed? Do you get that sense from him? And that is why I asked the question. That's why the thumbnail says, Erik Ten Hag the gangster, because that is the kind of aura I feel coming off a Erik Ten Hag right about now. A kind of different
Mhm.
aura. Like, he walking in. Yes, he's won stuff with Ajax, but most supporters don't really rate that. But the man walking in like if, yeah, well, I win Champions League and thing with big clubs, Well, you had a, that is. But do you get that impression, or maybe I viewing it the wrong way?
Um, I want to piggyback on something Nicholas said earlier. He spoke about ego, but I wouldn't really want to say ego. To me, it sounds like confidence that, hey, at the end of the day, I have seen where these other managers fail. I have seen where everything. I think I could come and do something. But before you could even translate that to the team or anything else, you had to believe it in yourself. And if it is you don't have that self-belief and that self-confidence, then when you go into it, knowing where the situation was last season, then you may not be able to get your desired result at the end of the day. So the thing about it is when, again, as I said before, new manager, new mindset, new thinking, new everything. We cannot expect to want to get new results, want to get change and everything if it is we stay at the position that we are at. And it has to start somewhere. So for me, I believe I am going to enjoy
So
seeing what comes out of
let
it.
me ask you this question, Adrian.
Yeah,
You playing, for people who don't know, you play fet match football and stuff in Trinidad,
yeah,
and you are a striker, right?
yeah.
How do you think a man who obviously likes to flex his muscles like Cristiano Ronaldo
Mhm.
is going to do under the regime of Ten Hag, where Ten Hag is coming in not with a kind of mindset like, yeah, you could dictate to me, but with a confidence that I am the manager and I will dictate. How do you think that dynamic is going to affect Cristiano Ronaldo? Or how do you think that relationship is going to go?
Um, Again, I always say, as you said, yes, I do play football and so on. But the thing is, no
But
player could be bigger than the
strikers
manager.
also need strikers are different creatures, eh? They
Yes,
need that kind
yes,
of
yes.
confidence within
No,
themselves to play.
yes,
Strikers
yeah. But
tend to
for
be
me, at the end of the day, I always believe that no player should be bigger than the manager. And yes, Cristiano Ronaldo, yes, we know what he has achieved. We know what he's capable of. But at the end of the day, he cannot make certain decisions on his own. It has to be the manager. And I believe that, again, we just have this saying, respect supposed to go both ways. Yes, I respect the fact that you are this big player and what you have accomplished. And then it has to be the other way around. Yes, I have to respect the fact that you are a new manager coming with new ideas and so on. So I think that is where it has to balance somewhere. And that is where, again, Ten Hag's managerial skills would kick in. Because, again, knowing the ego that Ronaldo has. And then what I like about this also is that, to me, it's like both of them kind of pushing the same energy. Like, hey, I want to come here. I want to make a difference. I want. Because, again, like look at Ronaldo again. Ronaldo was once there. He knows about, fighting it, knows about winning stuff and so on. And then to leave and come back and then the team that really make you and bring you out in this kind of shambles. So you and yourself would want to, hey, I really something needs to be done. And with the mindset that Ten Hag is coming in, combined with the ego of Ronaldo, again, I really would love to see what comes out of that. Because again, the mentality is there. It's just now to more or less come together, execute, and see where it goes from there. So for me,
yeah.
I believe that they would have a good relationship. And let's see where
Your
it goes.
your
And
take
I'm
your take
honestly, I
is
hope
that
for the best.
your take is that it's two winners. You have a manager that
Yes,
comes in with a
yeah,
winning mentality. You have a
yes.
player with a winning
With a winning
mentality, and
mentality.
hopefully that
Yeah,
should line up
yeah,
perfectly to get
that's
results on the pitch. Well, boy, I hope so too. I really hope so too.
I
because because a whiny Cristiano is not helpful to the squad. Let me just touch on some of the questions quickly before we
yeah.
end off by talking with the transfers. So we do really we Jeremy was asking earlier if you all are worried, in the shortest possible way. Answer that for me, Nicholas. Are you worried personally about the how the transfer window is going so far?
No,
Considering that we only 2 weeks in and the
no,
transfer window is going to end on the 1st of September.
we have until September the 1st, 11 p.m. September the 1st, which is ample time for us to get three signings done, right? Because that's so far three names out there is like we said before, De Jong, um, Ericsson, and
Anthony.
Anthony, right? Those are the three areas that Ten Hag wants players in so far. Um, and we have enough time for that. Like I said before, if we expect us to pelt out a set of cash and just pick up players, we're going to run back into the same financial issues as before. So, no, I'm not worried. I know for a fact we will get the De Jong deal done because it's more of a time factor with Barcelona than with us. Because
All
we could
right.
actually hold out. Barca can't because they have to get transfers done.
All right. All right. Adrian, what about you? You worried?
I in the earlies I was a bit, I will be honest, I was a bit concerned. But then you have to remind it, hey, patience is the name of the game. And as Nicholas correctly said, we can't afford to make the same mistake we made before, just splashing our money, and then when the player come, we are getting what we want out of the player, and again, result. So for me, at the end of the day, I think this time around, and I hope in the future that we go for what we need. Because at the end of the day, is we need players to fill certain positions. And if it is the manager comes in and says, well, hey, this is who I need. This is who I need. This is who I need. I mean, and as a correctly said, it's a short list. It's not like we asking for 10, 12 players, only three. Well, so far, only three, right? One of them free. One of them, as Nicola, I believe, will come through the De Jong because Barca need the money. And Anthony, I having high hopes of because from what we are hoping and reading from good sources is that it seems like he wants to come.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and then there's a next thing too, in terms of transfer. We keep going after players who just want to come for the money and who don't want to play for this. Oh, wrong place. This. We need players to come and play for this. And this
Correct.
has been our problem for the longest while. Men not coming to play for the budget, just coming to play for a paycheck. So
Correct.
that is why for me, as I said, I was concerned, but I'm not worried again. Because why? We had to play the patience game, we had to play the waiting game, and we had to know when to strike. And I believe with Ten Hag coming in and the changes that we have made internally, I believe things would change and hopefully will change for the better. So no,
All right.
I'm not worried.
For me, I am not worried. Ten Hag, this De Jong deal reminds me a lot of Paul Pogba. Ten Hag has made it clear this is the player he wants. Manchester may be dragging their feet and paying the fee because they don't want to get raked over the coals by Barcelona. But if we end up having to pay the fee, we will pay the fee. Ten
Yeah.
Hag wants this player, he is going to get De Jong, so the De Jong is going to happen. Um, so, and we'll talk about the others before the end of the program. Martin Phillip was asking who in the present academy could come into the first team and fill areas. Now, we're not talking about who will get sweat, right? Because we know we could start to say, well, Ghana should get some sweat, and this one should get some sweat, and that one should get some sweat. He's asking specifically, is there anybody in the academy that could come into the first team now and plug a hole, meaning that would start in the starting 11? Um, You think anybody would be able to do that, Nicholas?
No, not off the top of my head because I do I don't think those type of players are found too frequently.
You think they need
Some
to
of-
get
yeah,
bled in? Sorry.
some of these guys need to be transitioned into playing for first team properly. Because one, it protects the players from the outside world. We know how toxic that could be. And two, it encourages them because when you have some players coming through too early, it can affect them long term in terms of fitness, getting injuries, and two, their mentality with how they play the game.
All right, all
So
right.
right now, I know we had a successful young team that won a title, but we can't do that. It'll be an injustice to do that to them too early in their career. We have a lot of fringe players that he can work with and sort of find a spot for them in the team because
I
that's
mean,
what he's good
with
at.
the five transfer rules, we'd expect to see a lot more players
Yeah,
in
because
a
he
90
has
minutes.
he has um he has a portfolio of bringing back players from the fringes because when I look at Tadic, Taj played in the Prem, he played for Southampton and stuff. Didn't do
Failure.
good. Went across the Ajax and was phenomenal in that year where they did so well in Champions League. So
Collier as well with West Ham
yeah,
was a
hello,
failure at
yeah.
West Ham.
So
Yeah.
these guys, I mean, we don't have a. It's not like we have a manager who cannot work with young players and cannot get the best out of players. I've seen it with the way he's done it before. So I'm not too concerned about him reusing certain players. I mean, if we call back Andreas, and Andreas has a good season for us, even self he's rotating and stuff, I would still see that as being successful. Because one, you didn't have to spend a whole set of money bringing in another guy who could have filled a spot, right? So we have to be a lot more strategic, and I think that's one of the things that Ten Hag has in his portfolio. He is very strategic in how he does things.
And what about you, Adrian? Did you have any player that you think could definitely come into this team one time and fill a hole?
I think I'll have to agree with Nicholas on this one also. I mean, there are players, there are potential, but not yet. Not yet.
You wouldn't
I
put that
mean,
pressure on their
it
shoulders
have
as yet.
a couple players I have in mind that could come into the team eventually, bring them in gradually, but to say come into the first team one time, no,
All right,
not
fair
not
enough.
yet, not
Fair
yet.
enough. So let me go through the transfer news as we're getting ready to shut it down. Ericsson, we should be getting a response from Ericsson within the next few days. We have to remember that Ericsson's contract with Brighton officially ends at the
Brentford.
end.
Brentford.
Brentford, sorry. Um, his contract with Brentford officially ends at the end of this month, right? I think it runs until the 30th. So it hasn't surprised me that he hasn't made public his decision as yet. If he has even made his decision. So we're gonna have to wait and
So
see
that's
what
why
comes.
Thursday.
But there is a strong feeling among some of the people in the Sky Sports press score that he is going to choose Manchester United. We're gonna have to wait on that. Anthony Ajax preseason training started yesterday, and Anthony did not show up for training. Now, whether that is he had a family issue, whether it is his car shut down, whether it is his dog had pups and he wanted to stay home, I don't know. But there is some people saying that Anthony possibly trying to force a move, right? That Anthony has made clear to the club, I want to go and play for Ten Hag. I want to play for Manchester United. All I need to make this happen. Don't feel, oh, it's keeping me here, right? That's good because what it is, you want players that want to come and play for you. So that sounds good on Anthony's part. Let's see what the fee is going to be because Ajax already did a lot of some business and already made their money. So we're not going to get Anthony cheap, and we know we don't necessarily have the biggest budget. So that's the latest on Anthony. And as far as De Jong goes, we're expecting a bid for De Jong early this week, which will be our second bid. The second bid has not gone in as yet. They have had unofficial talks on the phone, but we're supposed to be putting in a second bid early this week, right? Between Monday and Wednesday, we're supposed to put in a second bid for De Jong, and let's see how that drama will unfold. Um, so gentlemen, as I say, we're looking to shut it down, and I just want to end off asking you all this. And well, for those tuning in, please remember to like the program and share. You know what I mean? Let's build the United our community. Um, do you all think Ten Hag is obviously we agree that he is betting on himself to get the best out of these players. And I think if you don't show him what he needs, his attitude is going to be different towards these players. He's not going to be like, yeah, trying the same. Remember, Ole was playing the same starting 11, bad result after bad result. I don't think Ten Hag going to be doing that. If you don't step up to the plate and show that you got the stuff, if you don't get out this window, I think we're going to see a lot of players exiting in January if they're not stepping up to the plate. I don't think he's here to play. So, but my question to you is, do you think that he would really be able to get, the best out of these players? These players loved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. From everything that we have heard, these players loved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and they failed on him. Let's be honest, they failed on him. Um, Ralph came in, he wanted high energy, high work ethic. They wanted them to be on the job for 8 hours a day, train longer. From day one, they had a problem with Ralph. From day one, they had a problem with Ralph Ragnick. Do you think, and we know Erik Ten Hag expects a lot physically from his players. Erik Ten Hag's style is very physically demanding, very similar to Pep Guardiola style, right? The players have to put out. Do you think Erik is going to have get a tune out of these guys? He thinks he can. Do you think he can? Adrian, I'm gonna start off with you.
I would say yes. I'd say yes, he could. But again, at the end of the day, as old people they say, you could take the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know? So, and then as I said, with the kind of mentality that he has, you know, and in terms of what I have seen him achieve at Ajax, I believe that he could. He could, but the question is if he would. Because again, it all boils down to the players again. And again, same thing with Ragnick. He come, they didn't buy into the system, and then we see what happened there. But the difference is, and as you said it earlier, if he does not get what he wants out of you, the door is there. And I think that was the problem with the previous manager. And that's why I say I love Fuldy so much. From the time you started and you started, the door is there. I could quickly replace you. Because at the end of the day, we are a team. We have one mission, one goal, which is to what? Win stuff, win titles, win trophies, keep the fan base, high up in spirits too. But at the end of the day, if I cannot get something out of you that I expect and I believe that you have the ability to, and I'm just not seeing it, well, then here's what? Hard luck. I will want to find somebody else who willing to something. And again, the other thing, as I said, I like him at 10 out too. I like how he has confidence in his players. And I believe in his tenure, a lot of these guys coming up will get a chance. And I believe once they get a chance at it, who knows, you might see some of these first team players warming bench a little bit too. So yeah, I believe he could get the best out of them. Yeah.
Charlie muted.
Nicholas, what about you?
Well, the manager, but Eric Ten Hag as a person, he seems like a fair person, and at the same time, he is not a pushover. So I fully expect that he would get the best out of players who want to be there and the ones who are not performing, or who cannot fulfill what he expects, he will have no other choice but to move them on. And I'm confident that he would have the ability to do that at the club, because that's one of the reasons why they had so much discussions before he actually took the job. That's why there are so many changes to the structure of the club currently, because he wants to be guaranteed that whatever decisions he have to make, or you know
You get it back in.
yeah, that he doesn't have to suffer like what other guys experience. He wants to make sure that his seat is safe, and he gets the time to do what he needs to do, because we all know, we keep saying it, but I think we forget it just as much as we say it. United is a project right now. It's going to take a lot of time. So we have to pay close attention to that. We can't expect to just rush out and get certain things done and happen overnight. It's not going to happen. So
You
Ten
know,
Hag, to me, he's going to do what he has to do once the time is given to him, and I'm sure that the time is going to be given to him.
we have been hearing about this rebuild, rebuild, rebuild. I think this is the first time since Fergie that we actually doing a rebuild.
Yeah,
I think Edward
Mhm.
Wall and these guys was just giving us lip service
because
before.
the structure was still the
Yeah,
same every single season.
yeah. So I
Yeah.
don't think we actually was. This is the first time United is actually having a proper rebuild with a proper manager, and who, and we have the youth system too to do that rebuild, because the crop of youth we have coming up is also probably the best that we have had since Sir Alex has left. So we want to say special shout out to Carlton, Kess, Martin, Philip, um, Alan, and everybody, Jeremy, who was in the comments, everybody tuning in. Thank you for being part of the program. And remember, Red Devils, we don't die, we
We
multiply.
multiply.
Yes.
Multiply.
And
Yeah.
remember, Tenag is here.